Okay, and I think we are live. I hope we are live. Anyways, welcome everybody to my Paragon Hero Build series, Monolith Hero Build series, where I go over my hero builds for certain heroes. However, this time I am going to be doing something different in that I'm just going to do a type of general build for caster heroes. And what I define as a caster hero is basically heroes who sole focus of damage, their main output of damage is their abilities, right? They don't care about their basic attacks. Sure, their basic attacks can hit here and there for some damage, but the vast majority of the damage is going to come from their abilities. As the example, we're going to use everybody's favorite wizard, is Gideon. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start the build. Again, for your prime card, people, usually you're going to want to have the Archmagus card. This is pretty much the best prime card out of all of them. Satorian is the worst in my opinion, with the Warlord coming in very situational. So the Archmagus prime card is going to get locked in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to work our way backwards here. We're going to complete the end game build first, and then we'll focus on some early game cards. So for all builds, regardless of who they are, I always would advocate to get a ward. And again, this is a general caster build. This isn't a build specifically for Gideon. This is a build for any hero who wants to max out how much damage their abilities are doing. If you are an ability based hero, you will use something similar to this build and it'll work. It will ensure that you have enough damage coming out against pretty much anybody you face. And because we are ability based, right, we are going to start here with the Brawler Sword. We're very simple, just straight damage here. And something to note is that the end game build is going to be 2 6-point cards and 4 12-point cards for a nice even 60, which is the max. So after we do that, we go and get something that is needed for every ability based hero, which is ability penetration. Now, depending on which hero you choose, you will see different cards here. Most ability based heroes are intellect, some are not, and a good amount of them also are corruption. So that's something to take into consideration. That being said, what we want to do here when it comes to ability penetration is we want to get a total of 30 points of ability penetration. That's 30 actual ability penetration points, not 30 CP, but 30 ability pen points. As you can see here, the Shadow Scroll gives us 2 ability penetration points straight up, and then another 4 once it's fully upgraded for 3 CP. So we're gonna go ahead and choose that, and we're gonna equip it with triple dire shock. Now we do the math real quick here. We're getting 6 total ability pen from the card, and then 6 times 3 from all the upgrades. So that's going to be a total of 24 ability penetration. That puts us really close to 30. All we need is 6 more. So let's keep things simple here and simply go for another Shadow Scroll. But instead of adding any more ability penetration, because we are already at 24, the 6 points of ability pen that we get from the Shadow Scroll itself is going to be enough to finish off our requirement for ability pen. So we're going to make this our other 12-point card, but we're going to simply increase its damage out. Just like that. And remember, this is a general build guide for any caster, and the important part is to not look at which cards I'm using, but to look at how I'm allocating the CP values and how I'm manipulating the stats of the hero, right? We want 30 CP, not 30 CP, I'm sorry. We want 30 points of ability penetration total in the final build, because every single hero in the game, regardless of their build, will have 30 points of ability armor once they are level 15. So we want to be able to cut right through that. So building at least 30 is the safest thing you can do. It's guaranteed that damage that you're getting from ability penetration will always be live, and that's what we want. We don't want to get so much penetration that is not it's not working at some point. We always want to have enough penetration that is always cutting through actual armor. So 30 points, that satisfies that need. So we have two 12-point cards here, and the thing with casters, right, is that when you're going for damage, you just go for straight damage. You know, it's very simple to build casters. It's just power, mana, and health if you want, right? So we're gonna clear the filter there, and we're just gonna scroll down here and see which cards can fit the need. You can see they're recommending ability pen, but we don't need any more at all. No more ability pen. But they are also recommending mana regain and pure mana. Now, if we look at Gideon specifically, I'm not trying to make a Gideon specific build, but it's impossible to not take into consideration the hero that you're doing when making a deck. So even though this isn't Gideon specific, we still have to take into account that it is Gideon that we have building a deck here for. So he's a bursty type of caster, right? So he pretty much just wants to come out of the woodwork and unload his entire kit in one shot, right? He wants to tether you, drop a meteor on you, teleport above your head, and ult in the sky. That's what he wants to do. That's all for his abilities. Bam, 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 bam. You're dead, right? That's what he does. So because of that, mana regain isn't going to be as effective as it would be, right? Because he's not the type that's going to be poking down on heroes. He's the type that just wants to get in, use all his abilities, and then get out. So he needs a higher base mana pool to do that, which is why we are going to specifically be looking at pure mana instead of mana regain here. So right off the bat, we can see a couple of choices here. We have Amp Crystal. We don't need any ability penetration, so this is out. We have Fountain Spike. We already have a War, so we don't need that. This gives basic pen, which we don't need as a caster. A Wellspring Staff has a little bit of mana regain and a little bit of mana. I think these points are a little bit too spread out here, so we want to focus a little bit more on just mana and just power right now. So let's go ahead and split it right down the middle with a Fountain Spike, right? So the Fountain Spike is going to give us a good amount of mana on its own, 60 points, which is a little bit more than I think 2 of his abilities cost, maybe one or 2. So we're just going to go ahead and put a nice big bonus there of damage. And because it's such a nice spread of power and mana, we can simply do another one. It doesn't have to be too complicated, right? This is a general caster build. This is a common passive. Every caster has this available to them. So yeah, that's fine. So now we're looking for the final card here in the deck. And it has to be a 6-point card, maybe something relatively early on. You know, he isn't the type that wants to be in people's faces in the front lines at all. So getting health on him would be a waste because he's not supposed to be taking hits. He's supposed to just be going out there and cleaning up. So even with this final 6-point card that we're going to be getting here, we want to go just pure damage. And for that, there's a few cards that are better than Burst Engine here. So let's go ahead and upgrade that ×3. So yeah, that's the end game build there. Very simple build, not much. It's completely focused on damage. It's just straight damage. There are some other cards that people build, but we're not getting into those specific type of builds. We're getting into what is a type of general consensus as to where your CP should be allocated to, right? And for casters, it's pretty much like this. We want a total of 30 points of ability penetration. We want a lot of power and a little bit of mana and mana regain. Okay, just to help us use our abilities a little bit more often, you know, because that is important. As a caster, it's the worst thing that can happen to you is to run out of mana at a crucial moment in the game. We just do not want that to happen. So because of that, we have to put in a couple cards here that increase our mana and give us a little bit of mana regain as well. So actually, with that in mind, let's make a Solaris reactor here as well. A couple of them. And right now we're building early game cards, correct? Yes. We're building early game cards. We have a couple of Solaris reactors here. As you can tell, these cards are more focused towards mana regain. So that is something to consider. Instead of keeping the Burst Engine for one of your late game 6-point cards, you might consider keeping a Solaris reactor there if you really feel like the mana regain is going to help you out a lot. Right now we have room for one more full card and then the starter items. Yes, and then the starter items. So it could be something simple. You could do another Burst Engine. You can do some health if you want. Add him an edge, for some health. Help with your early game survivability if you wanted to. And that's something you would consider if depending on your team comp, right? Maybe you have a Muriel on your team, right? Maybe you have a Narmish on your team, people that like to fill your health up, whether it be with actual health or whether it be with shields. If you have somebody like that on your team, consider taking some health items and actually using health items. I know I said that it's pointless to get a health item on him, but you always need to look at your comp, your team comp, right? And casters in general, they go mid lane, so and they're also very dependent on mana. So you go mana potion and healer token. It's very basic start here for mid lane. Mana potion, healer token. You can't really go wrong with this. You could go ahead and add a task token there, for in case you have 1 CP left over and you're forced to back or something, you have something to put it into. I'm just trying to be CP efficient here. but usually you go mana potion and healer token. If you're not going mid lane, so you can also play off lane, right? If you're going off lane, instead of the mana potion, you want to go ahead and take a health potion along with your healer token. The reason why you want to do that is because there's a lot of pressure in solo lane. So even though he can play really safely and he's, you know, obviously ranged, he can drop his meteor from range, he can do a lot of things from range, you know, all his attacks are ranged. You still will inevitably take damage in that lane. And while the healer token is going to probably be enough to handle that, something might happen, and that's when you're gonna want your health potion. You know, a gank attempt might come through, and you might use your portal to get away, and you might get away, and you might not. You know, the health potion will guarantee a safe start in the off lane. But generally speaking, you want to do a mana potion and a healer token whether you are in off lane or mid lane, depending on how comfortable you are with Gideon, of course. That's pretty much the build. Again, this isn't Gideon specific. This is just generally for casters, right? This is kind of where, in generally speaking, this is where you want your CP to go. You want 30 points of ability pen, and the rest of it in power with a little bit of mana and a little bit of mana regain. That's pretty much it. There's nothing crazy about it. It's very simple, very easy, and you know, it works for pretty much all the casters. If we look at the casters, right, we have, you know, Aurora Countess can do this build, right? Becker, I guess she could, although she's more of a support. Gadget for sure. Gideon for sure. Iggy and Scorch, of course. Kwang, Malika can do this build as well. Faye can do it. Richter, kinda sorta. Not really though. Aurora can do it as well. Yeah. So just heroes that really just use their abilities for the bulk of their damage. That's who's going to benefit from this type of build, which is basically pretty much just 30 points of ability pen and then a bunch of power and mana regain. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below, and have a good day.